what we said in the beginning of the preamble is a document to say that you are also part of the government. That you gotta think of yourselves as part of this large body politic, we the people. And that you can take responsibility for your government. So, not that you are asking the government to do something for you, but that in the end, you are the government. Right? If you are not the foundation of this government, then this government will take you where you don't want to go. Right? It's taken us to places where we now say we don't want to go. Right? And young people are over there fighting and dying where we say we don't want to go. Right? Now, the government took us there, but it only took us there because we do not have a sense of ourselves as part of the government, as part of we the people who come together to talk about important public issues. Now, we had a small beginning here. We could listen to people get up and talk and complain and issue ideas about what's wrong. We had a few suggestions about what we might try to do about what's wrong, but the idea that we should have conversations is a new idea. And we have to develop a culture in which we can have these conversations and also move towards discussions about what we want to do about it, right? So we're going to continue, there's going to be a panel, superintendent, CEO is going to be up there and some other people. And so maybe we can move the conversation along. What should we do about, in this case we're talking about Baltimore and its school systems, but Baltimore can't fix its school systems by itself, right? It's tied up in the state, in our current way of thinking about education policy in this country. It's each state which is fundamentally responsible for the education. How many of you have heard of the Rodriguez decision? Raise your hand if you've heard of the Rodriguez decision. So you should all look it up, right? 1971, Mexican Americans sued you say it's 73? All right. But 1971, Mexican Americans sued, right, in Texas for equity. They wanted to have the same kind of funding for their schools as the majority schools in the state. When the decision came down, the Supreme Court said there's no substantive federal right to an education in this country. And the key word there is substantive. Right? So they said, in effect, you don't have standing to come to us to ask for relief about your schools. Because in this country, in effect, for purposes of your education, you are not a citizen of the country. For purposes of your education, you are a citizen of a state. And so you do not have standing legally to come before the federal courts relief. Right? So because of that, you now have a suit in Maryland. But it's not just in Maryland. There are 45 suits in 45 states about equity, all since the Rodriguez decision. Right? So we have a huge problem in this country, but what we are trying to do here is say that people in the country have to begin to have a conversation about this problem. We won't be able to do anything about it if we can't stand up in public and begin to talk about the country, about the problem. Now, we are a country that if we don't intend to do anything about a problem, we are not going to talk about it.
That's right.
So unless we decide as people in this country that we are going to get up in public and talk about this problem in all of its ramifications, then nothing will be done about it. So we're going to continue to talk. I'm not sure who's taking